Evening all, and welcome to episode 94 of Kerbalism. We are here on the launch pad getting ready to send off a brand new top secret experimental craft. So, what is this? Well, this is one of 3 craft I intend to have attached to the station when we go to Duna. They're big, they're very big, they're sort of the same size as the station themselves, but, well, yeah, go big or go home. Basically, the 3 designs are going to be one, which is this one, which is a crew complement. It can take all the crew up and down. One will be designed for landing on Duna and refining fuel for the ships. Another one will go down there with a miner as well to produce rocket parts so we can remotely build things on Duna. The reason I'm testing them at Kerbal is basically if I can get up to my space station, refuel them, and then get back down and land them with a powered landing on Kerbal, something I'm really panicky about because I've never done powered landings, but if they can do it on Kerbal or at least get close to it, if I break them on the way down, it's providing they make it to the ground and don't explode, that's fine. If I lose an engine or two, yeah, it's not too bad because Dune is a bit more forgiving than Kerbal. It's got lower gravity and thinner atmosphere, so that's the idea. There are some other things as well which luckily I've sort of stumbled across as I was doing things. A few episodes ago I mentioned that I wanted to build space planes for going to Duna, for coming up and down, and although Duna has an atmosphere, it doesn't have an oxygen atmosphere, so jets wouldn't work, and that was my idea. I was going to have the shuttle with jets on it so it could fly up and down and do that, but that wouldn't work, and I don't know how I missed that. I don't know what it's wrong there, my brain just didn't work. I know Duna doesn't have an oxygen atmosphere, only Kerbal and Lathe do, so yep, until we go to Lathe, oxygen breathing engines are out of the question. The other one is, again, with oxygen. Duna has no oxygen, therefore I can't extract it out of the air like I originally planned to. And I wouldn't be able to do that anyway because, again, Duna has no oxygen, so the extractors wouldn't work for it. But with the classic profile I'm now using in Kerbalism, the extractors don't extract anything. They don't do anything. So, yeah, basically I've got to send all my oxygen reserves with me to Duna, and they're going to have to be kept supplying from Kerbal to go there because we can't mine any water because, again, the classic profile gets rid of water. So yeah, it's a bit more complicated than I originally had thought of doing. I did have a look at how Elon Musk SpaceX plans to do it with their Mars system, and basically they're going to send all the oxygen there to start with, and then hopefully mine for water. Hopefully, because well we know Duna has water, ice. I think it's a little bit sketchy on there. There's those places that say it does, and there's some that says it doesn't, so it's all a bit weird. But presuming it does have ice, we can mine it. We can get the hydrogen and oxygen out of it, and all's good. But I can't mine water because the classic profile for Kerbalism doesn't let me mine water, even though I have a water drill with planetary base systems. So I'm going to take one and find out what it does, but I don't think it's going to work because I've got nowhere to supply water. But whatever. So yeah, I'm going to have to basically send an additional module to my station that's just got a big ball of oxygen essentially, and hopefully that'll last my Kerbals for quite a while because, well, I don't want them to die because that's not very friendly at all. Okay, so we've made it to orbit and we've got 541 meters a second left. Obviously Kerbal's a bit more requirements, has more requirements for getting into orbit than Duna does. Kerbal is, according to the Delta V planner, 4,080 meters a second to get to the surface, and Duna is 1,740, so just under half. So we're good. This can get into orbit, and I'm going to refuel it and then see if it can do a power landing. If my station's got enough fuel on board, I'm not sure. The only derpy thing about this is that docking port, and that's because the inline docking port, which I was going to go with, is not the same size as these bays. It's shorter, so it upset the whole craft. So I decided to try and I was looking for a docking port to try and fit to it, and was trying to figure out something to do with it, and I've got two new mods installed, and one of them is they're both by D-Magic. One of them is this here, this one window. It basically takes everything that pops up on screen and puts it in here. And the reason I wanted that is when Kerbalism stops your time warp because something goes wrong, it pops up in the bottom here and then goes away. And if, like me for instance, when I was doing the probe, and it was doing like a 90-minute burn, I went off and did other things. And I could have had Kerbals die. I didn't have any out there, they were all at home, didn't matter. But I could have had Kerbals die for that. So yeah, this is good because it tells you, like here, it says script called on experimental vessel, which is my solar panels being deployed. So yeah, that's good. You do have to change Kerbalism profile to the Kerbalism settings to set it into a normal window rather than to use the Kerbal way of messaging rather than their own block window down here. But anyway, that's not the important one. The other one is here, this docking port. Flexible docking ports by D-Magic are fantastic because you can deploy them and they poke out. And that's really useful. It's not the flexible part that's useful to me, it's the fact that that deploys away from shit. That should be something that's just built in. It just makes life so much easier for it being further away. I don't have to worry about building the craft in such a way that, well, this is pretty slimline anyway, that wouldn't touch anything, but that just allows me to dock on easier than that, so yeah, that's fantastic. There is a problem with this craft, and that's with these decouplers here. I've got ladders down here, because Kerbals obviously need to climb all the way down, and there's one ladder down there as well, and I thought the decouplers decoupled, and they don't, they stay there. So we'll have to sort them out for another bunch. But yeah, other than that, I think this is pretty good. Obviously there's no Kerbals on board this, it's completely autonomously run. In between at the back we've got a sort of solid fuel, a solid core. My words are failing me today, sorry about that. But yeah, we've got a solid core which goes down to sort of about halfway, and then on the end we've got some batteries and a probe core and a tiny nuclear reactor. Look at that, there it is, tiny nuclear reactor sat there, currently offline. Oh, I should activate these. I wonder why they weren't activated. Only one was. I have to double check that in the VAB. But yeah, so yeah, it's got little radios in there, and I have set up the auto system, so obviously turn the solar panels on and off in space or there, and when the power's high, turn the reactor off. When it's on, when the power's low, turn it on. It's called a converter. I don't know why, but it is. It's called a converter, which is odd, but oh well. So yeah, this is all good. All I need to do is actually get it to our station, which is behind us. We managed to launch up and get there quicker than the station did. So yeah, I'm going to go around for a little bit, and I'll see you once we're docking. And here we are coming into dock. I'm letting MetJeb do it, and it's going to do its wonderful thing of missing the target, which is something it did a lot of, to be honest with you. When I put this station together, it would do this. It would end up aiming sort of off to one side. So okay, MetJeb, you can stop doing that. You can kill the oh, of course. Of course, we have flexible docking ports, so they can be attached a little bit crooked. Now I can toggle the magnets. Oh, when they're docked you can't retract them. Okay, that's fine. I wonder if that can dock when it's retracted, because I might actually be able to bring that in. Attached to it. I'm just wondering about the radiators down the bottom. I don't know whether they're gonna get in the way, but yeah. So that's kind of a success. That worked okay. We've got a bit of liquid fuel there. We've got a bit of food here. I have had to actually edit this slightly. These tanks, they are designed for TAC life support. I don't know what TAC stands for. I should probably look that up. Bear me a moment. TAC LS, Thunder Aerospace Corporation. That's what TAC stands for. The tanks are designed with that in mind, and the way that consumes food and oxygen is different to Kerbalism. So I've had to go in and edit its settings so it makes them Kerbalism sized, if that makes sense. So this tank here currently holds, I think, 34,000 food it held, maybe. No, 30. Obviously, it's right in front of me, and I'm guessing. Look, 33,785. I think with the new system, it's going to hold more than that. I believe. I've left all the fuel alone. That's fine, but I think it's going to hold more than that, and the oxygen as well. One of these full tanks of oxygen was only about a year for 5 Kerbals. So yeah, that was a bit weird. But anyway, we are here in orbit, so let's transfer our fuel over. Liquid. Oh dear. That one, I think. No, I actually want the fuel tanks that are at the bottom. These ones here. I want it to be bottom heavy. The bicoupler, and bicoupler. That's what I want. Fuel in. There we are, and then we want fuel tank, and tank. That can go in as well. I want the fuel in the bottom because when you enter an atmosphere, the ship goes heaviest part first, so it makes more sense to have all the fuel in the bottom. Something I'm also going to have to do, move the oxidizer over as well, is when I actually put this all together and have these attached for sending this off to Duna, I'm going to have to play with this to balance the fuel around, because this pod is going to be a different weight to the one attached to this node or the one attached to that one over there, so the balance is going to be off. So I think TAC Fuel Balancer, again, Thunder Aerospace Corporation, that's going to really help with balancing the vessel to it. There's no way to see the centre of mass once it's in flight. I can't find any mods or anything that do that, but I do know that the camera zooms into the centre of mass. So right now our centre of mass is there in the middle of space, just below that point there, sort of below where that line is there, and sort of in line with that there, so it's sort of here floating in mid-space. So yeah, that's our centre of mass. So if we were to fire this engine now, we'd spin around. So yeah, getting the centre of mass and centre of lift is fantastic. I really like the idea of these, but I think that's going to be awkward. The reason I got these is because originally I did envision the space plane idea, and it was going to obviously have wings and a tail and stuff that were poking out, so I needed something to extend away. So that was the idea behind it. Maybe I don't need them. Maybe I could just put normal docking ports on there. Maybe I could even attach it with just with that being retracted. I don't know if it does that. Might quickly give that a go. Let's undock. Oh dear, wrong button. Switch over to that one. There we are. Retract that, and then control from here. Enable RCS. Oh. Ooh. The RCS is not very well balanced in this. Yeah, it would appear that these down here are a lot stronger than these little ones up here, which makes sense. I don't really know how I could fix that, but I'll look into it. I'm sure there's a way. Okay, so we want to wiggle that way a bit. It does attach when it's excellent. So that could be quite useful. That could be very useful, actually. Yeah. So I could attach them like that. That way, I know that they are. They'll all be the same distance from the centre of the vessel. So when I'm mucking about with balancing fuel and stuff, I know where it is. I also know that if I want to use their engines, which I don't think I'm going to do because I'm going to bring up a nuclear add-on for the Duna version of this station, which is going to pretty much be exactly the same as this, maybe with some extra greenhouses, because I don't know if that one greenhouse can support all the Kerbals I want to send at once. So it may have a slightly longer core. But yeah, so I'm going to use nuclear engines with add-ons there and not their engines. They're going to be saved for that there. And of course I will send up loads of refueling things and have this completely filled up with fuel. All of these will be full of fuel, with an exception. I might leave 1 or 2 tanks empty somewhere, just so I can muck about with the fuel balancing. But yeah, other than that, I think this is pretty good. So now the second part of the experiment begins. We are going to undock from here, press the right button this time and select that vessel there, and then we're going to deorbit this. And I know it's not going to burn up on the re-entry because I'm going to come in very shallow with it, but yeah, I think that we're gonna do that. Let's see, which way am I? Push I to move outwards. There we are. Also, when you're using MechJeb's auto docking, make sure you press caps lock and change these settings into docking mode. You can push caps lock and it changes to normal mode, which is powerful RCS. See there? Or docking mode turns blue and it's not so powerful. If you have it on the orange mode, the standard mode, and tell MechJeb to auto dock, your ship starts wiggling, wobbling over place. It overcompensates like mad. It's absolutely madness. So yeah, obviously our reaction wheels are down here. We've got some of these little pods here and some reaction wheels up there, but I guess the RCS at the bottom is far more powerful than these up here. So a few refinements been made, but nothing game breaking so far. So let's point ourselves retrograde, and I'm not going to deploy the solar panels again, I don't think. There's no point. We apparently have an hour worth of electric left before, well, there you go. Once we're not using the reaction wheels, we get a day or so. And as the electricity drops low, our nuke will fire up in the centre anyway, so these are good. These are very good. So let's bring this in and hope it doesn't explode. I don't think it would explode. We have got some drogue chutes here, which I shall launch when we need to. The chute, I couldn't land this on parachutes. You couldn't do that on Duna anyway. Duna's atmosphere isn't thick enough for parachutes to really work. So drogue chutes are much better for Duna. So it's got to be a powered landing. I'm hoping that we've got enough fuel to land. Where is our Delta V? 2,700. Yeah, we've got loads of fuel. Loads of it. Look at that. So yeah, and all the fuel's in the bottom, so we're bottom heavy. So let's deorbit ourselves, shall we? Just very gently going to bring our periapsis down to about 50, I think. Would probably be a good idea. From 100k, would 50 be good? Don't know. I do keep getting like the odd pop-up now and then saying that I can do an EVA report, which is odd because I don't have any Kerbals on board. I think that's just a weird thing this does. But yeah, I'll drop our periapsis down to 50. We shall then re-enter, and I'll skip time to the re-entry part, but I'm actually going to record the whole re-entry thing, so you'll see me. I've never done a successful powered landing ever in my life. I'm always parachutes or, well, space planes I'm no good at all. SSTOs are not my thing, although technically this could be considered an SSTO. It did have boosters, but without the boosters it can actually get to orbit. It does have enough Delta V, so this might well be my first ever SSTO legitimately single stage. if I get rid of them boosters, which I might have to do because that's in the way there. But anyway, let's head back to Kerbal. So, re-entry in 30 seconds. I decided to put the solar panels out again. I thought I'd just top the batteries off before we get there because that makes sense. I'm also not going to be using MacJeb's Smart ASS. I think in the past I've had issues with this. This has been a problem with my craft. MacJeb tries to compensate. It tries to do corrective steering, I think. I might be confusing this with something else, but I'm pretty sure MacJeb does corrective steering, which means that it detects when something is starting to fall over and corrects it. So like right now I'm pointing retrograde, and if it's noticed the ship trying to lean, it will try and push it back the other way to get it retrograde rather than trying to just balance it, and that sometimes causes craft to spin and flip out. So I didn't really want to do that, so I'm just going to use the standard built-in one. I'm sure MacJeb does use less fuel though, if I remember rightly. The standard one doesn't do as many course correction changes, so it uses... No, the standard one uses more... I'm a little confused now, I'm talking it through. I don't know. Oh well, we're coming down, that's the important part. So, let's accelerate time and drop ourselves into the atmosphere here. And I will fast forward time through this, I think, the wonderful powers of video editing in post-production, and I'll see you when we're somewhere closer to the surface, when I need to actually fire these engines up. Well, the sun is rising and we are coming in hot. I've got to say, this is really stable. The only time it actually used any more propellant was when we just started spinning there for some reason. I don't know why that was. You see little puffs of more propellant coming out, so yeah, this is very, very stable. I'm very happy with that. All I need to do is get down, which I think it's going to be okay. I'm looking at these suicide burn numbers here and realising I don't have a time. I've got an altitude, a distance, and a delta V, but I don't have any time as when to thrust, and we're just starting to get a little bit of heating coming up here. What's that on? Is that on the engines, or is that on... I cannot tell what that's on. We're getting some weird... we have become a fire quasar. With things shooting out from the edge that's coming off my solar panels. That's weird. Ah, that I expected, to be honest with you, but I didn't expect it to be... Oh no, it's coming off this. This is causing drag. That's to be expected, yes. Right, there we go. Yeah, the engines are starting to warm up. Again, that does kind of make sense. And something inside, that'll probably be our nuclear reactor, actually. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Maybe I should put a heat shield on the reactor. Dunia's atmosphere is thinner, so I'll be using the engines a lot more to slow myself down. Which I can do here anyway. I can fire up the engines to slow us down a bit more. And hopefully stop the overheating. I've got lots of fuel on board this. It says 700 meters a second, 720 meters a second suicide burn. and I've got 2,500, so we're good for that. Of course, the suicide burn does kind of figure out coming straight down, not at an angle like this, I don't believe. And we are going to come down in over water, aren't we? That's typical. Oh well. Oh well, we're coming down over water. Not a great deal I can do about that. Not ideal. Not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but well, as long as we come down kind of in one piece, we'll be fine. And I might have to go through the settings on this and find the time. Suicide burn time. Although I do have a distance, so I guess far when that gets to somewhere near 0. Could keep the engines running like this for the minute, just to slow us down some more. And deploy our drogue chutes. That might help. Right, so, oh, let's change the camera back to auto, shall we? That might be helpful. There we are. And we are absolutely fine. Yes, look at this. Look, we've got loads of fuel left. Probably didn't need those drogue chutes at all, so that's fine. Right, we want to point radar out, please. Which just means our nose upwards. Because obviously radar out when you're on a surface setting is point upwards. And there we are. Awesome sauce. So that was technically my first powered landing. A success. I'm happy with that. This is built really, really well. I love that Phoenix cockpit. That is a really awesome looking system. And the way the Kerbal sits inside it as well. One sits at the top, like the captain, and the other two sit in the front, so they get this view here and the window at the bottom. It's brilliant. I love that. So yeah, really, really happy with that. Successful landing, and yeah, we brought nearly 1,000 meters a second of fuel back. We're a fair distance away from the KSC, but I wasn't aiming for the KSC, so yeah, I was just aiming to land. So we have. Okay, so there's this one done. I need to design 2 more of these, one to convert ore into fuel and one to convert ore into rocket parts, and then we're pretty much ready for Duna. And here are all 3 of the vessels. We have the passenger version, we have the fuel version, and a rocket part version. There have been a few tiny changes. I will be using the boosters with a different decoupler. I found one that detaches from them. But the main change is that I welded the main frame together to make it one part. So instead of all these being nearly 100 parts, they're now just 60, so that works better. Although these reaction wheels are certainly nowhere near as strong as the ones that were down there, but well, I can't weld reaction wheels, they go wrong. Oh my life, don't do that, don't do that. Right, yeah, it's taken me the best part of an hour to just get these 3 from there to here. The amount of times these things fall over, they're very top heavy, so yeah. But the small differences is in, well, at the bottom really. If I aim the camera down here at something, you'll see I have an ore tank, and that's just to push the legs out, so when they're retracted they just miss the engines on the ground. So yeah, the ladders will reach all the way down even if the legs are out, but I had them bounce around a lot with the legs, so I think for stability reasons I'll draw the legs in. But this one's practically the same as it was before. Obviously we've got different RCS at the bottom, which isn't as strong, and the reaction wheels aren't quite as strong, so yeah. This one is our fuel refinery. It has at the bottom here, hidden away, a drill with a little heat shield on the bottom. Attached to the bottom of our nuclear reactor, I can deploy that, and it will drill for resources and fill up these ore tanks on the outside. And once it's filled those up, we can open that one. Is it that one? We can open that one, and it's got a small ore tank there as well. We can convert this into whatever fuel we want to, and it's got two larger fuel tanks on the sides there, so that's a pretty straightforward one. Extra radiators pointed around because, well, don't want to overheat thing. This was a bit more complicated to make. To turn ore into rocket parts, you need 3 stages. You need ore to metal, then metal to rocket parts, which is difficult to do with only 3 blocks essentially to play with. So yeah, that's why these ore tanks were born at the bottom here, because then I don't have to store ore above. So yeah, so again we can deploy the drill down there, hidden away, and in this one here we have a planetary based ore smelter to smelt the ore into metal, and we have a workshop to turn the metal into rocket parts. I originally had one of these as metal and one of these as rocket parts, but now I've got both of them as rocket parts because I kind of figured we don't need to store metal. I may do if I start recycling stuff, but well, for now we don't need to store metal, we just have rocket parts and that's it. So that can store 25 metal, that'll be enough for the workshop to convert that into rocket parts, and yeah, this will have loads and loads of rocket parts, so we can build things. So there we have it. There we have our 3 shuttles ready to go. So all we need to do now is actually put the space station in orbit, and we have 198 days left, and we're on our way to Duna. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you again next time, and until then, as always, have fun.